Damascus migration, the second coming, and the CIA. We're getting into it next.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome, guys, to the after show for Messiah on Netflix. We're covering episode 1, He That Hath an Ear. Man, hath, we're getting into the King James, okay, guys? King James, he that hatheth and eareth. We are talking an introduction to Al-Mesiah, the 2,000 people migrating into the desert, and the CIA involvement. We are also talking our special segment, What Would You Do? Get it? Play on What Would Jesus Do? What would you do? And, of course, our news and gossip. And we are so excited to get into it today. So, but first, my name is Tatiana Mariesa, and I am joined by my absolutely lovely co-host, Ebone Chatman.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Yes.
Good. I'm so excited you're here doing this show with me. It's interesting. We talked a lot.
Yes.
Before.
I'm very excited to dig into this.
Yes, it'll be good. So, overall thoughts of this. I know this is it's come out as very controversial so far, and a lot of people have a lot of things to say on it. So tell me, what was your overall thought of episode 1?
So my overall thoughts of episode 1, I'd have to say I was just confused. Like, overall thoughts, confusion. I was just like, what's happening? They leave you. They open the show with so many unanswered questions already. We have the CIA agent who is clearly going through a whole lot of emotional stuff that she's burying. She has life going on. She's trying to have a baby.
Is that okay? That's one of my questions in here, because I was like, did she have an abortion, or is she taking infertility drugs and it didn't work?
So my thing was when I saw the injections, I was like, is she married? Because she has a ring on, and I was like, is she doing IVF?
Right.
Then I'm like, where is the husband? Mm-hmm. So I was just like, I'm really confused. What's happening?
Questions.
Yeah, questions that need answers. Mm-hmm. What's happening? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I understand that whole idea that you have this man that's preaching and saying, God has us, follow me, I'm going to lead you to the promised land, right? And then, of course, he's going to look like a threat, right?
Hey, if he came back today,
crazy.
It would be weird.
It looks kind of crazy.
To be completely honest, it would be really weird. My overall thoughts were, I was hesitant. Okay, I was hesitant to watch it because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what kind of things were going to be put out there, and sometimes shows like this can be mixed with a lot of political propaganda, and so I was like, what am I watching? But so far, it's slow moving, which sometimes I like because then it really establishes the characters, which I'm excited about, and so I'm excited to see what is next,
right?
Honestly.
So lately, my whole thing has been, I'm an impatient person. So I'm okay, so we have somebody who, we don't know what's going on. Who is this person? What's happening? So all the characters are very open.
Yes.
And I'm like, I need more.
I need more. Hence why it's a binge show, right? So we're just next. Right. I love it. So while we're talking about this, let's get into our first topic, our introduction to Al-Mesiah. Okay, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Please don't butcher me. Tell me if I'm wrong. Send me a voice memo, okay? The introduction to Al-Mesiah. So this man, like you said, has been preaching in Damascus for 30 days.
Right.
When a 43-day sandstorm, it says, of biblical proportions comes in.
Right, which I thought maybe 43. What does that mean?
43. I was scouring the Bible, quite honestly, because I really wanted to see what
the correlation was.
The correlation between the Bible and this show. And in doing that, I found that it has a lot of correlation biblically, but it also has a lot of correlation with Islam. So, and the fact that it starts in Syria, it's a lot to think about. But I also have to remember that this is somebody's interpretation, and it isn't entertainment at the end of the day. Right. So I'm not going to sit here and expect
have creative
it to be
liberties.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not going to be it needs to be biblically correct. I need to see. So, even though that would be cool, but I also understand that it's not always how it works. So, so they see that. They refer to him, among other things, as Al-Mesiah, and he is played by Mehdi Debbie. Again, you guys, send me a voice memo, okay? Who is an amazing actor. I haven't seen him before.
Me either.
And I'm really excited that they're using a lot of faces we haven't seen. But that Al-Mesiah actually translates to the Messiah which is a name for Jesus Christ in Islam, but is also a name associated with Dajjal, a false prophet akin to the Antichrist, who announces himself to the world as Al-Mesiah. So I like that because then because the whole point of the show is to try to figure out, is he friend or foe?
Right.
So it's really interesting. It made me think, but also in seeing him, we are introduced to Jibril, which is played by Saeed Alami. So we see Jibril, and he is a great actor. Again,
Such
a
a good
face I
actor.
haven't seen before.
Right,
so
which is wonderful.
It's so awesome. And his mother just died from a caliphate bombing, and he escapes and sees him. Now, he's kind of taken him under his wing, right?
Right. He does.
Do you see this relationship as because I noticed we didn't see his father, Jibril's father. So do you think that he kind of looks at him as like a father figure, or does he really believe in him?
I think that the guy that they're calling Messiah, I think all of the people from what he's been talking to the town, I think they all kind of look at him, believe him, want more. I think in society in general, don't we always look for something more, something bigger than ourselves? So I think that that's exactly what's going on. And I think the character Jibril, I think for anyone that's going to give leadership and going to come to you and say, I am the word, you just have to remember, follow me, everything's going to be okay. Who wouldn't want that security?
Right. It's a good point. Security. Yeah. Right. And in the fact that his mother just died.
Right. It's like he has nobody.
His father is MIA. He doesn't have anybody.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. So this is kind of his saving grace.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to put that there, but I did.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. So really, it's his saving grace. So that's really cool. I'm excited to see how their relationship will develop. If he's going to start becoming his right-hand man or, his main disciple. I'm not sure.
I mean, we're going to have to find out, I don't know, because I feel like there's a long journey with all of these characters that I'm excited to get into. So I will just have to wait and see.
Binge it.
Right.
Talking about binging, we have a lot of shows here at AfterBuzz TV that you can binge because we talk about them all. So we are the sports of the ESPN of TV talk. So if you would please like this video, give us a comment, let us know what you think. Also on wow. Let's try that again. Subscribe on YouTube. And we are also on iTunes. So please check us out. Let us know what you think. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a star. And we cover so many things. So let us know. We'll let you know. And we'll keep covering what we love. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks. So moving on to our second topic. We have our CIA involvement. Okay.
Oh.
Of course it's the CIA.
I love it.
We have Eva Geller, played by Michelle Monaghan. She's introduced as the CIA agent who's battling, which we talked about. So you think it's infertility.
I think so.
And that totally makes sense because at first I was like, oh, she's been through this before. What's going on? And her father's super concerned.
Right. And I was just like, what is the concern? What is, I don't know. Is she sick? What was the...
And her hair is falling out.
Right.
I thought she had cancer for some reason. Some new stage of cancer.
Because he was like, you need to be resting. You need to be blessed. So I was like, what is happening?
Right. One of the things that... Now, I take her as a very, straight and narrow person. Obviously, she works for the CIA, but she's very...
No nonsense.
No nonsense. Things are black and white.
Yeah.
They're either this or this. There is no in between. And I think what said that the most was her quote when she said, the truth may look gray, but I assure you it's not.
Right.
And I was like, oh, yes. Yes. Because the guy was like, the truth is gray. There's so many gray areas. And she was like, no. Not when you work for the CIA.
Not at all.
No.
You either need to know or you don't know.
Exactly.
That is what it is.
And she is so cultured on her history because she runs into that guy at the diner who's reading The Clash of Civilizations, and which basically predicts the primary axis of world conflict would be along cultural and religious lines, which is happening in their reality.
Exactly.
As well as ours, to be completely honest.
Totally.
So, I see that parallel there. So what did you think of her involvement? She's obviously drawn to this Messiah character and wants to keep an eye on him. Do you think it's because she's honestly concerned concerned for her country and doing her job, or do you think it's more of a personal concern?
At this time in episode 1, I'd have to say I don't think that it is a concern for herself. Like, I think she's really just trying to do her job. She has someone that seems like a threat to society, someone that is claiming power, claiming interest, and mixing cultures. So she's just like, what is happening? Like, you are suspicious. This is weird. I have to look into this. And so I think that she definitely right now is just doing her job.
Yeah. She's being a good CIA agent.
She's being a good agent. She's doing her job.
So I think she's going to be pivotal as it comes, because she's obviously reporting to the politicians when the people who were migrating got stuck between in the Israeli border, and she alerted her chief, hey, like, this is what's going on, this is what I think. They're like, leave it to the politicians. So she doesn't strike me as the type of person who gets into the political jargon, Right. I think she's very morally based.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think that you can tell that her character is complex, and you can tell that there's a lot going on with her. Again, like, we have to just unpack and finish watching. But I think she does have. I think she's been through enough in her lifetime that the reason she makes choices because of what she's been through.
Right.
Like her own personal, what she's been through in life. That's why she makes the decisions she makes.
Right.
So we'll have to keep seeing this character.
I noticed that her father must have worked for the CIA too, because her superior was like, oh, you're just like your father.
Oh.
So
yeah, maybe I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so it must be like a family thing. If she's going to confide in anybody, I would think that she would confide in her father.
But I feel like that relationship is very strained. Don't you feel like it's not
because
very
she didn't
close? She's not
call him back.
Right. She's very closed off to him. So there has to be like something went wrong. Something happened.
Maybe... I don't want to be super cliche, all right? But normally in those situations, it's like, oh, he was married to his work. You know what I mean? Like, he was never there. He's a CIA agent.
Right.
Which
makes sense.
Which could be. I would like it to be something else. I don't know. Writers. I guess we'll find out.
I don't know. Maybe he cheated. I don't know what happened.
We'll find out. Episode 2, 4, 8. I don't know. So moving on, we have the 2,000 people migration. Okay, so now this guy, the Messiah, has garnered 2,000 people to follow him. And that's quite a lot. For being there for 30 days, I feel like that's quite a lot to have follow you into the desert.
Right.
To Israel. And when he gets there... I like that when they're in the desert and they're like camping overnight, he's already surrounded by these like Pharisees, these people, these scholars of old, who know the Quran back and forth.
Right.
And he is speaking in parables, the Messiah is speaking in parables and stuff. And they're like, oh, is this what you mean? This is actually what you mean.
Right. And he's like, don't correct me. Right. I said what I said.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that they put that in there, because I think that is such a pivotal scene to display.
Right. Because I think it's very true, right? Like, don't we always want to correct other people? Be like, no, that's not what you're trying to say. Let me help you and fix. No, like,
I know
this is what I said.
Yeah. And I love that. That was like one of my favorite scenes. And because he says a lot of things that really ruffles his feather. Like, where are the women? Why aren't the women sitting up here? And he's like,
right.
And pushes him over. I love that. So they're essentially going to defeat Israel. They think they're going to defeat Israel.
That's what they think is happening.
But
that's not what happened.
You're right. No.
That is not what happened. They got left.
Yes. I mean, he didn't I don't think he meant to leave them.
It wasn't on purpose.
No.
But he didn't
stuck. Tell them what was going on. Yeah. So these people have they have a lot to look forward to by not knowing what.
Yeah. You know what? I also found something interesting too, because I was like, okay, you've been preaching for 30 days. I don't know, like, there has to be some type of energy coming from him. That's why people followed, because I'm sorry, if I had someone on the corner talking and saying the things he was saying, I don't know if I'd be following him into the desert. Like, I don't think that would be my...
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you can go to Hollywood and see people saying the same
all
things
the
that
time.
He's saying. But you're right. And I think that's the whole allure of him being like, the second coming.
Right.
Is that he has this energy from him, and people are desperate at that time. You know, it's
right. There's a war going on.
There's a war going on. Damascus is completely obliterated, you know, and so they are looking for something. I mean, they're trying to get out and they can't, right? The U.S. has the border blocked off. Nobody can get off. So it's, you know, they're hopeless. They're hopeless and they need somebody. And so they follow this guy because, I mean, honestly, like what he's saying is life.
Right.
He's speaking life into people. He's speaking encouragement. You know, how many people today do that aren't necessarily good people?
Right, all the time.
Some of them are,
right.
and some of them aren't. But people are like, oh, yes, because there's something that they need.
Right, you need something to believe in.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he gets arrested.
Yes.
They bring him in. And this is where we see Evram, played by Tomer Sisley, who I really like. Again, haven't seen him. He's actually in Germany, and he films in Europe.
Wow.
So I don't know if this is his first U.S. Project, but I know that he, when I was looking at his IMDb, a lot of it isn't here.
Yeah,
like
the detective.
Yes.
Yeah, I love
yes.
him.
So he's really, really awesome.
Really good actor.
So super good. So he's the first one to kind of like interrogate the Messiah, and he's totally blown away. Right. If you met somebody that knew all your stuff, even the things that you didn't want known,
right?
Like horrible things that you did, they were like, "What about this dude?" You're like, "No, you know, I just want to hide." I'm sure that's what you want to do, hide. So he's totally enthralled, I think, by this Messiah character. He doesn't believe in him. I don't think he believes in a God at all.
I don't think so either.
And I think that's what makes him so much more angry, because this guy knows everything about him.
Right, which I think gives more of that like idea of how do you know these things?
Right.
Right, like who are you? Have you been looking into my file? Like what's really going on? Did they send you here?
Right.
Did they set me up? So
right. And that's the thing, is it's funny because he's thinking logically. Like logically, how would this guy know the stuff about me? It's in a file somewhere,
right.
Or he talked to my friend. You know, like it's interesting to see that sometimes a lot of these characters can't go beyond logic.
Right. But the funny thing is, when it comes to faith and religion, sometimes it does just, there's no explanation. Mm-hmm. It is just what it is. And you can't explain, like you've been in a situation where you just legit cannot explain how you got out of it, where the money came from.
Right.
You just looked in your purse and it was like $100 bills. Like, what is happening? It's like those moments where you're like, there's no logic to explain. So some things you just cannot, there's no
Those moments are humbling.
Right.
And creepy at the same time, but humbling. So I think that he's going to experience a real shake in his everyday, his day-to-day, because I think he got drunk at the bar and went back to beat him up, the Messiah up.
Oh, mm-hmm.
That's what I think. I mean, he was there, he came back, he was drinking, he came back, took off his watch, right? And it was kind of like staggering a little bit.
Here we go.
To go, and I was like, oh crap, he's gonna go beat him up to get more information, or he's gonna beat him up because he's angry, because he's an angry dude. But he's gone.
Escaped.
He escaped or disappeared.
Whatever.
Evaporated. So that's where we're left. It's really interesting. So what I like about it is that we have different people of different backgrounds and faiths that are all interested in the same person.
Yeah.
And they all have different reactions.
Yes.
And I love that. I don't feel like it's one-sided.
But everyone is also very much so, for the most part, right? Like the detectives, the CIA agent, they have this very standoffish type of personality when it comes to him. Like they're looking at him weird, they're trying to investigate him. As for like the other people, the more people that are based in religion are more willing to follow, willing to listen, more open. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like you said, it's definitely a nice contrast.
Yeah, totally. I think also they're more, because some of the critics were saying like, who would follow somebody into the desert,
right?
And all that. But I think that for the second coming, some of what they're seeing is what they've read about,
Right. They said the yellow robe.
What?
Oh, wait, maybe. Did I?
No.
No.
Not yet. when we come back, okay? A lot of what I think it's some things that they've read about,
right.
Either biblically or in the Quran, it seems that he's coming, because he kept saying history has ended, you know?
He does say that, yeah.
So
which I think is an interesting thing to say.
It's super interesting, and I would almost, like, from the biblical side, I would want to say possibly that means that he's coming to, like, fulfill the laws, so
right.
It's like, you don't have to do all this stuff anymore because I'm here. There's a lot of questions I had. There's a ton of questions.
A ton of questions.
Just a ton of questions. And that's why it's a binge show, as I said. So then all of them can be answered in a night. Okay. All right. Going into our special segment, we call it What Would You Do? Play on What Would Jesus Do? Okay. What would you do? So the scene I'm going to give you.
Okay. Here we go.
Is what would you do? The scene I'm going to give you is you walk. I'm going to paint you a picture. All right.
Okay. I'm going to close my eyes so I can really
close your eyes so you can
visualize what's happening.
You are walking into Hollywood. Okay, you just parked your car.
Okay.
When you found parking. And you have to walk all the way into Hollywood and Highland. Okay? And in the middle of that intersection, there's a man that looks like Al-Mesiah, and he is preaching for 30 days. No car hits him, nobody can get to him, but he's sitting there preaching for 30 days. What do you do?
I think I might sit and listen for a minute. Just to see what he's talking about. I'm on my own personal journey too when it comes to religion, learning about God, the whole thing, growing in my faith, which I love. So I think I would sit and listen. I might be like, hey, like, what's happening? But then I feel like I might walk away.
Yeah.
I feel like at first you're kind of like, who is this guy? What is happening? What is he talking about? And then maybe he might strike a nerve with you. He might say something that hits you real hard because he knows. I feel like a person like that would be able to feel your energy. Like, we have a doubter. we have a doubter in the group.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody would say that. Yeah.
Right? What would you do? Would you follow? Are you following or are you walking home?
Am I following? Okay, what I would do, me personally, is I would read as much as I could, okay, about what is supposed to transpire before and after.
Yes.
If this is something that's supposed to happen, I need to know about it. I'm going to read about it first.
Lord, did they say that he was going to show up on Hollywood and
right? Like, I'm going to read about it first, and then I would make my decision. That's what I would do. Like, okay, it said that this and this was supposed to happen. Can this be explained by science? Like, or can it not? Is this something that's what I would do? I would be completely freaked out, right. Number one, and I would be super skeptic because I'm a big skeptic. And so,
I mean, there's so many figures out there.
There's so many different things and that you can be fooled by and just taken advantage of and stuff. So I'm a big skeptic. And so it's, that's what I would go home and just
read
everything.
Right.
Just
read like, and you keep coming back. Oh, he's still there. He's still there.
Uh-oh. How long is he supposed to be there? Let me see. Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. So moving on to our news and gossip.
Yes.
Very good news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
The critics that I've read about, they hate this movie. They hate this show. So many people have deemed it not worthy of watching. They say it is hard to explain and nothing is answered. Now, those are critics, okay? That's like the Hollywood Reporter. Collateral said the same thing. But if you go on IMDb and you look at the reviews, people love it. They love it. And that just goes to show you, critics don't know everything.
You can't really listen to everything the critics say.
No, you cannot, okay? Because they were like, Netflix had to have a religious-based show to appeal to that audience, so they might as well, this is what that is.
But there's multiple things on Netflix at this moment.
There's multiple things
that appeal to the religious sector of people that want to watch those types of subjects.
Exactly.
Also, what's up? It's Steph in the booth. If you look at Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score is 91%.
See?
So, the critics have 36%. Audience is 91%. I personally go with the audience usually.
Always. One person said, so far, it hasn't disappointed for those that get their knickers in a twist over politics, religion, and the like. Switch it off and go back under your bubble wrap. Controversy is not bad, nor is free speech. English last time I checked. And finally and foremost, it's a fictional show. Get a grip. We all have grown here. I've seen much worse in TV. So many people love it. I really like the show. It was different to my usual choices, and I'm glad I gave it a go as it had me hooked. The lead actor who plays Messiah is fantastic, a great choice. The concept is original, and it kept its pace right up until the end. I really hope there's a season 2.
Ooh.
So critics are the audience is raving about it, and it's like 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10. So 10 out of 10. So it's, don't believe the critics.
Right. You have to go watch it for yourself.
You have to watch it for yourself. It is controversial. It's supposed to be controversial.
It's supposed to raise questions, but I feel like if we're not making content for people to listen, talk to, start conversations, then like what are we making? Like what kind of content are we making? You're
making a lot of the same thing.
Right.
And this is original. I haven't seen anything like this. A couple people compared it to the CW's The Messengers, which I think came out in 2015, 13 or 15. And I wasn't like, I didn't watch it religiously or anything, but it was along the lines of, people have a message and they're sent to tell people before the world ends, kind of a thing. And so people are saying, it's like that, it's another one, but it's not. I think this is original.
I think it's original.
It hasn't been done before. And I'm super excited that it was actually made because I think it could totally apply to today.
I think so too, and I think it's funny because it's like year 2020 now. We're in 2020, right? Happy New Year, everyone! And we're having this show talking about like the second coming, and I feel like each, it's like 2012, the world's gonna end. I know, right? Now it's like it's always something. So I feel like this definitely gives you something to talk about, something to think about.
Totally, it makes you think.
It does.
That's why I like it,
and I like it a lot. Yeah.
I'm glad we're in agreement.
We are.
Because we're on the same panel.
We are. Well.
we should agree on that. We like the show. No, it's good. Good. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited that we were able to sit here and break down episode 1 of Messiah. It's so good. Before we leave, where can we follow you?
Oh, we can follow me on Instagram. My name, Ebone Chatman 12. Twitter, I think it is eChatman17, or just my first and last name. Listen, I barely use Twitter, so Instagram would be the one.
Hey, if Instagram is where you're at,
and
the
Facebook,
most,
there you go.
Put it on there. And of course, you can find me, Tatiana Mariesa, at Tatiana Mariesa on all social media platforms. Until then, we will catch you next time when we talk about episode 2. Good night, you guys.
Good night.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.